am so happy to be out here this morning. At Effect Fitness, they are a great fitness business in my community. It's great to be here this morning and just being out here without a mask and being able to get ready for the race for Juneteenth. Here we are at Effect Fitness. We're giving them a proclamation in terms of the celebration of Juneteenth and what it's all about, but also just again being out here and what they do.
Yeah. Keep going though. Let me see your shoulders. I don't know what y'all came here to do, but everybody stop. Put your left hand behind your head. Right knee, let's go.
This is Juneteenth Commemoration. You know, it's a day for us to recognize that misinformation is not a good thing, but we're going to celebrate the good times and we're going to celebrate advancement. And African Americans are awesome being celebrated today. Fitness is important, and so I'm so happy to be here with my colleague Joy Shepard and her district celebrating a day when we're coming together for fitness, for commemoration. This is a great day in Council District 12. There you go. Thank you.
Well, we are here because we are celebrating 10 years of the existence of Jenny Drake Park. And I'm so proud to be here as council member who represented this district. Miss Jenny Drake, who the park is named after, lived next door. She would call my office almost every other day. If a leaf fell off a tree in this park, she would call. And she was always a great caretaker. And so it's a great story. Today, the proclamation, of course, is celebrating 10 years of this park. But it's also great that it is the Juneteenth celebration, because we're celebrating not only that enslaved African Americans were freed, finally, when they had already been freed 2 years ago, but it's also freeing up this community to have a wonderful, lovely green space where they can come and commune with nature. So all of it comes together for the good.
The Atlanta City Council adopts legislation to anticipate and appropriate funds awarded to the city from the American Rescue Plan Act, a federal relief package approved by Congress and signed by President Joe Biden in March. The American Rescue Plan is one of the largest economic rescue packages in our nation's history, which included providing $1.9 trillion in relief for state and local governments and hard-hit industries and communities to respond to the COVID-19 pandemic. The council approves legislation authorizing a 2-year contract with a 1-year renewal option in an amount not to exceed approximately $5.4 million for DeKalb Avenue safety improvements, including resurfacing, replacing damaged sidewalks, and installing new signage. The council greenlights an ordinance transferring $1 million from the city's fiscal year 2021 general fund to the Capital Finance Fund to pay for streetlight installation and improvements to increase the city's streetlight footprint with a focus on areas with high rates of traffic crashes and crime. The council approves an ordinance authorizing an encroachment agreement with the Black Music and Entertainment Walk of Fame to grant the right to install the Walk of Fame in the public right-of-way along Martin Luther King Jr. Drive. For more recently approved legislation, please visit our website, citycouncil.atlantagA.gov. This has been your Atlanta City Council Legislative Minute. Thanks for joining us for this edition of Stay at Home Connect. I'm Phyllis Jackson. Dr. Anthony Fauci is warning against the spread of a highly contagious, more severe form of the COVID-19 variant that was first detected in India.
In the UK, the Delta variant is the rapidly emerging as the dominant variant, greater than 60%. It is replacing the B117. The peak transmission in my conversations with and the data associated with the UK, when talking to their health authorities, the transmission is peaking in the younger group of 12 to 20-year-olds, namely that group that we're concerned about here, about making sure they get vaccinated. And as I mentioned before, there's poor protection after a single dose of either the mRNA or AZ vaccine.
During a White House briefing, Fauci said the Delta variant accounts for 6% of cases in the United States. Here in Georgia, there have been just under 20 cases reported. According to a White House task force report, Georgia ranks 45th for COVID vaccinations. Fauci says it's important for all Americans to get vaccinated. The White House has a goal of vaccinating 70% of the U.S. population by July 4th. The largest vaccination site in the Southeast closes its doors. Mercedes-Benz Stadium shut down its community vaccination center earlier this week. Over 300,000 vaccinations were administered at the center. Johnson & Johnson says it wants to extend the shelf life of its single-dose vaccine. The company is conducting stability testing. The current vaccine can live up to 3 months, longer if it's frozen.
Now, therefore, we, the members of the Atlanta City Council, on behalf of the citizens of the city of Atlanta, who hereby proclaim this day, May the 22nd, 2021, as Tom Murphy Day in our fair city. In witness thereof, we cause the seal of the city of Atlanta to be here into effect. Congratulations.
We're here today to celebrate Tom Murphy and 40 years of his restaurant Murphy's in the heart of Virginia Highland. That's unusual these days to have a business owner, locally owned, lives in the area for that period of time. And, you know, he serves a fantastic meal. It's a place people come for baby showers, for brunches, for weddings, and he's been tremendous in giving back to the community as well. I'm just so excited that Murphy's, Tom says that they're back to their pre-COVID business. People are out and about. He's making it a safe place to eat. I've been back here, and it's one of my favorite places, and I hope people will get out as they feel comfortable and back into their local restaurants.
This is a great occasion to be here today. Murphy's being here for over 40 years is significant in a lot of ways. It's not just a popular restaurant, but Tom Murphy, his wife, his family, they're intricate to the community, intricate to the fabric of Virginia Highlands. You know, you can't think of this area of town without thinking about Murphy's. The food is great, the people are great, the spirits are great, And he's contributed not only by having and maintaining this business for 40 years, but he has reached out to help the least of these. He's reached out to help many charities around the city of Atlanta over that 40-year period. Just think about the people who've worked here, the people who have matriculated through this restaurant. This is the crossroads of East Atlanta. And so he has been a principal, central figure in the Virginia Highlands community, and his restaurant has expanded that, has expanded, what's in his heart to all of the rest of us.
Hello, hello, hello. This is Andre Dickens, and I am the chairman of the Transportation Committee. Welcome today to the Transportation Committee here at Atlanta City Council. We are hereby called to order to start this meeting. I would like to now do an introduction of the members. Ms. Pulandini, could you do a roll call?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Council Member Marcia Collier Overstreet. Present. Councilmember Antonio Brown. Councilmember Amir Faroki.
Here.
Councilmember Jennifer Ide. Councilmember J.P. McAdite. Councilmember Matt Westmoreland.
Here.
Thank you. We have 4 members present and a quorum on the line.
Okay, Ms. Pulandini, I know Ms. Ide said she would not be here, so I know where she is. I'll wait on the others throughout the meeting as they will join us momentarily, I'm sure. All right, now please read the remote meeting statement.
Yes, Mr. Chair. This committee meeting, this Transportation Committee meeting is being conducted remotely as advertised and as in accordance with OCGA 50-14-1. The meeting will be conducted in conformance with Robert's Rules of Order and the Rules of Council as authorized by the City Code. The public may access the meeting by dialing 877-579-6743, conference ID 831-599-1256, which was noted on the June 25, 2021 public meeting notice. The public may also view the meeting on Channel 26, the Council's homepage, at citycouncil.atlantaga.gov, the Council's YouTube channel, or the Council's Facebook and Twitter pages via @ATL Council. All presentations are available on the Atlanta City Council's Transportation Committee presentation page. The agenda was published and made available on June 25th, 2021 via atlantacitygA.iqm2.com. And in addition, the public was able to submit comments via voicemail at 404-330-6059 between the hours of 4 and 7 p.m. the day before this meeting. All persons present on the remote council meeting conference bridge are requested to mute your phones and speakers Additionally, speakers must be acknowledged by the presiding officer prior to speaking. Each council member is requested to open your Outlook email and minimize the screen. Amendments, substitutes, and informational documents have been distributed to committee members beforehand. Thank you all in advance for your cooperation.
All right, thank you, Ms. Filandini, for the remote meeting statement. Have any other members joined since we started?
No, Mr. Chair.
Okay. All right, now I make a motion to amend the agenda to accept the walk-in paper. Is there a second?
Second.
Vote is open. One moment, please. The vote is closed. 4 yeas, 0 nays. The agenda has been amended.
Now I make a motion to approve as amended. Is there a second?
Second, Westmoreland.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 4 yeas, 0 nays. The agenda has been adopted as amended.
Okay. Now I make a motion to approve the minutes. Is there a second?
Second, Westmoreland.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 4 yeas, 0 nays. The minutes have been approved.
Okay, good deal. I am going to take this communication first and then go to the public comment because we have a quorum right now and I'm hoping that we don't lose it. And I'm hoping for more members to join, but I want to do this communication to approve. So let's go to section G, 21C0080, a communication from Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms appointing Mr. Baldwin Biadori to serve as the Aviation General Manager for the City of Atlanta. It is my pleasure, council members. We've all worked with B, as we call him, Biadori, for some time now as the airport general manager, the interim general manager, and just a great operations guy over the airport for many, many years. And I trust his leadership. I thank him often for his availability and responsiveness. We spent some time with him on Friday, as well as we took our airport tour. So I am in full support of him being appointed, about Mayor Bottoms being appointed to the general manager position. If Mr. Biadori is on the line, please step forward, Mr. Biadori, and tell us about yourself and anything you'd like to say to the council.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Good morning, City Council Member B. Biadori, General Manager, Atlanta, Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. First and foremost, thank you for those kind words, Mr. Chair. I deeply appreciate those words. And I've reached out to many of the members on this committee. We have had some great conversation, and I'm here ready and available to answer any questions that you may have of me, be it personal in nature or professional in nature.
Okay, great. Thank you. Council members, I can't see, I'm not able to log in right now, so I can't see if your hands are raised. So if you do have something you'd like to say about this appointment, please just speak now.
This is Councilmember Overstreet. Yes, I will be supporting this for sure. I am thrilled that Mr. B will be our next GM for our airport, and I told him so when he graciously called me to talk about any of the concerns that I may have. What I know for sure is that when I do have concerns, I feel very comfortable going to him and his entire team. They've been very responsive, and their expertise is obvious at all times, and professionalism. When I asked to have a tour, a recovery tour of the airport, within the day, I was asked which day looks good for me, and we were visiting that airport, which we had that walk through the tour on Friday. We were visiting it immediately before the next transportation meeting and committee meeting, and I think that responsiveness speaks to what they've been doing for us the entire time that I've been on council, and I have absolutely no hesitancy whatsoever to continue working with him in the GM capacity, and I really do thank him for his professionalism and his service. So I will definitely be supporting this.
Great. Thank you for that. Any other council members? If not, then we can proceed to vote.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
This is Councilmember Matsakite. Apologies for just getting on now, but I wanted to echo Councilmember Overstreet's thoughts and appreciate the outreach and look forward to voting. In fact, I'll go ahead and move to approve. Confirm.
I'll second it. Thank you, Matsakite. I'll second it. And thank you for being here. So now let's go ahead on and prepare the vote.
The vote is open.
What you said earlier.
Will everyone please vote?
Westmoreland's in favor.
Thank you. Vote is closed. 5 yeas, 0 nays. This communication has been accepted.
Congratulations, Mr. Biodori. Thank you for your leadership, and we look forward to working with you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Councilmember. My deepest appreciation to all of you.
Okay, good deal. Now, let's go to the public comment. Ms. Pulandini, please read the public comment statement and play the public comment. I think it's 10 minutes worth.
Yes, 1 moment, please.
Hello, Councilmember Dickens and Transportation Committee. This is Jennifer Brooks. Thank you all for your service. Please use your authority to compel the Departments of City Planning and Transportation, along with Central Atlanta Progress and Atlanta Downtown Improvement District, to give downtown sidewalks back to pedestrians, including those individuals who have mobility impairments and who, out of necessity, use ADA-approved personal mobility devices. It's time to remove all sidewalk clutter and to get unauthorized wheels onto the streets where they belong and give us back our sidewalks. It's important for our safety and for basic quality of life. Thank you.
Matthew Peterson, calling in regards to Peachtree Street. I'm not sure how this was done, where transportation is greatly affected, whether it's CVS, White Oak Kitchen and Cocktails, and other retail, and the banks along Peachtree Street where our vehicles are not allowed anymore to pull in front of the banks, creating a safety hazard and traffic congestion where some restaurants are losing customers that are calling saying that the congestion is too great, and then CVS is losing complete loads, had to get their legal team involved. Shouldn't come to that. Hopefully the city can address this and correct should have started at Ellis Street and worked its way south to connect the Central Business District to the Woodruff Park and down to Underground, versus taking the densest part of the city and making life safety and public safety hazards by limiting it. No, it's not on the agenda, but hopefully it can be addressed quickly, internally, and behind the scenes. Thank you for your time and your service.
This is Richard Bowers. I'm in commercial law.
Good morning. This is Morris Harrison, and I'm occupant of an office in an office building on C Street at 270 P Street, and I've observed the congestion caused by the 50% reduction in the automobile and truck capacity for Peachtree Street with this experiment, and it's causing, in my own eyes, I've witnessed fire trucks unable to respond to alarms. I've seen ambulances being blocked by traffic. I've seen police cars being blocked by traffic, and I've also seen delivery vehicles not being allowed to offload at the branch banks from the armored vehicles. They're being directed around the corners, and my information is that this is not allowed by their guidelines. The travel distance along the sidewalks is too long for them to consider it safe to be hauling money up and down the sidewalk along our city streets. I hope this experiment is viewed from the perspective of us here on the street who live here, operate, work here every day, and we want the street to be successful for all of us. And I think that there right now under this experiment is an imbalance between the amount of space being allocated to pedestrians versus the amount of space being allocated to not only pedestrian vehicles but emergency vehicles who need to respond as quickly as possible to any kind of a medical or other type of emergency along this corridor. Thank you for your consideration.
Greetings, committee members and staff, and special greetings to you citizens and voters of Atlanta monitoring our government in action this election year. Ben Howard, Senior Advocate, Public Policy Analyst. Will residents of Neighborhood Planning Unit R ever be able to have a discussion about transportation matters at an NPUR meeting? No, because NPUR does not have and has never had and has never allowed a transportation committee, and because the NPUR 9 does not want anything to appear on the NPUR agenda that might attract some of the 20,000 residents to NPUR meetings. The fewer people who attend meetings, the fewer people they have to try to control. Not on the NPUR 9 agenda for the month of July is a report about the Fort McPherson conversation that took place about RCD and BRT, Rapid Transit District and Bus Rapid Transit, respectively. Also not on the NPUR 9 agenda for July is the need for a traffic calming device, where a major incident took place a few days ago on the curve in the road just north of the Adams Park Recreation Center on Delow Drive. As a matter of fact, nothing will be on the NPUR 9 agenda this month because the NPUR 9 have forced NPUR residents and stakeholders to take the entire month of July off. However, there will still be a community meeting on the first Wednesday in July, hosted by Edith Latipo. To participate in that Zoom meeting on Wednesday, July 7th at 7 o'clock p.m., simply contact Edith Latipo at 404-822-5064. That's 404-822-5064. 222-5064. As for you, FGR9, we'll see you in August as Nita Robinson, Corliss Clare, Ricardo Jacobs, Albert White, Lynette O. Scott, Allison Hathaway, Sherry Williams, Gerald Brown, Agent X, and you underground supporters of the NCUR9 syndicate.
I am Arthur Anthony Long. I am a spiritual being having a human experience. And to the members of the Transportation Committee, I say thank you. Hear my words, please, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Dickerson. We in NPU, I am a member of Tail Room, Southwest of Butler and County Lines. I'll talk to you about the work that was said to be microfiber on Butler Line in 2017. I hear today that our President, Mr. Biden, and administration, 2021 is contemplating $6 trillion sanitation bill. And he also is concerned about the condominium that was destroyed in Florida. Supposed to be making an opportunity to visit that state where this catastrophe occurred on Thursday. The word is transparency. In the context of business, government, openness, and honesty. Mr. Dickerson, as I said before, you had promised that you would make sure that we would get work done and we would do what was necessary to get your committee and the Transportation Commissioner involved with having this world 3 years ago. I ask today, not being indifferent or insensitive to you as a council person, but the word of transparency. Not to continue to lie to your constituents that you had said you were going to do what could be done to help get resolution to the condition of a road that has been going on for over 30 plus years. We had some work in the 90s, early 90s did to not paving, but patching up conditions of them. But in 2017, Mr. Mendoza, Commissioner of Transportation Committee, and members of administration, Mr. Reed, as well as Ms. Shirley Franklin, Mr. Matter, council member and representative of District 11 in 2009. Ms. Keisha Barber came in 2010. It was said we would get quick then. As you know, Ms. Keisha did, along with other members, paved Tail Road, the one I stay on. So let's be truthful today and stand for transparency, Mr. Dickerson. Thank you, Brother Anthony Muhammad.
Okay, that seems to be the end of our public comment. Is that correct?
Yes, that's the end of public comment.
Okay, so now it seems that we should go back to the consent agenda with ordinance for first read. Is that where we are?
Yes, I can read the ordinances. Okay. Item number 1, 21-0-0439, an ordinance by Transportation Committee authorizing the mayor or her designee to execute a second amendment to extend the operation and management agreement with Atlanta Airlines Terminal Company, LLC, to extend the term of the agreement with retroactive effect from December 1, 2019 through May 31, 2021, in an amount not to exceed $700,000.00 to continue the operation and management for airport dock traffic control services for Southside Cargo Airlines and handlers at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport, and to ratify services rendered in connection with the agreement in accordance with Section 2-1163, subsection C of Article 10, Procurement and Real Estate Code of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances. All contracted work will be charged to and paid from account numbers listed herein and for other purposes. And item number 2, 21-0-0440, An ordinance by Transportation Committee establishing the fiscal year Airport Renewal and Extension Fund, Airport Passenger Facility Charge Fund, Airport Commercial Series 2010 AB, Airport 2012 A Bond General Airport Revenue Fund, 2012 C Bond General Airport Revenue Fund, and the Aviation Encumbrance Program budgets by transferring to and from appropriations the amounts of $324,865,828.00 to provide funding for various projects at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport and for other purposes. And that concludes our consent agenda items.
All right, so we will move right on to the regular agenda. And now we're at ordinances for second read. Yes.
Item number 3, 21. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Item number 3, 21-0-0404, an ordinance by Transportation Committee to amend the FY 2021 Renewal and Extension Fund and Aviation Encumbrance Program budgets by transferring to and from appropriations a total amount of $153,512,263.00 for reimbursement of the Aviation Encumbrance Program and for other purposes.
Okay, and looks like we'll probably have Mr. B speak on the GM for the airport. Is he unmuted?
One moment, please.
Sorry about that, Councilmember. Good morning, Council members. B.B. O'Dary, General Manager, Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. This is simply a reimbursement into the Renewal and Extension Fund for several interim funded projects.
Sounds good. Okay, so I move approval. Can I get a second?
Second, Westmoreland.
Thank you. Will the staff please prepare the vote?
The vote is open. And the vote is closed. 4 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable. Our next item is number 4, 21-0-0405. And there is an amendment in your packet which replaces references to devices with measures. It also changes the caption. So would the committee like to bring forth, amend the paper first, and then I'll read in the caption?
Yes, please. I motion to bring forth the amendment.
Second.
Second by Westmoreland. Okay.
One moment, please. One moment, please. We will reopen the vote so that all members can vote. The motion was made by Councilmember Overstreet and Councilmember Westmoreland seconded. And the vote is open. The vote is closed. 4 yeas, 0 nays. The item has been amended, and it is 21-0-0405, an amended ordinance by Transportation Committee to amend Chapter 138, Article 4, improvements within the right-of-way, Division 2 Street, Section 138-84, traffic calming measures, and Section 138-85, traffic calming measures removal of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances to adopt a new traffic calming ordinance for the City of Atlanta and for other purposes.
Sounds good. Does Mr. Nagy want to speak on this paper? It may not be necessary. It seems pretty straightforward to me, but.
Madam Vice Chair, this is Commissioner Rowan. This is one that Deputy Commissioner Nagy's shop has been working on quite a bit. We're excited about it. This gives us more options as we look to slow traffic on our collectors and our arterials. And I know you and I have spoken about this, and as recently as last week. So we recommend this very strongly for approval.
Thank you very much, and so do I. So I motion to approve.
Second. Westmoreland.
Okay, seconded by Westmoreland. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open.
Okay, this item is favorable.
I'm sorry, go ahead, please.
4 yeas, 0 nays. Item is favorable as amended. So we will move on to the next item.
Item number 5, 21-0-0406, an ordinance by Transportation Committee authorizing the mayor or her designee on behalf of the City of Atlanta to execute all appropriate documents that would grant the utility easement across the real property known as 175 Lakewood Way, Atlanta, land lot 71 of District 14 of Fulton County, Georgia, to Georgia Power Company for the purpose of installing underground power distribution facilities, waiving real estate and procurement code Article 10, Subdivision 3, Sections 2-1571, 2-1572, and 2-1574 of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances and for other purposes.
Okay. Is anyone here to speak on this paper? Did Mr. Jurgen call in? Jurgen? Oh, Ms. Bradley.
No, Madam Vice Chair, they're not on the line.
Okay. I'll move approval.
Yes, and I'll second. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 4 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable and should now be referred to the Finance Executive Committee due to waivers of the procurement code.
Okay, then we will refer that. And our next item?
Well, the committee will need to vote to refer, so we'll need a motion and a second.
Okay, a motion to refer.
Second, Westmoreland.
Okay, second, Westmoreland. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open. And the vote is closed. 4 yeas, 0 nays. This item will be referred. Items 6, 7, 11, and 15 and 16 are all traffic calming device papers. Would the committee like to take these 5 papers as a block?
Yes, we would, please.
Okay. Item number 6, 21-0-0413, an ordinance by Councilmember Andrea L. Boone authorizing the mayor or her designee to waive Section 138-84D of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances to install traffic calming devices on Emerald Avenue Southwest and for other purposes. Item number 7, 21-0-0414, An ordinance by Councilmember Cleta Winslow authorizing the mayor or her designee to waive Section 138-84 of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances and to install traffic calming devices at 1125 Morris Brown Drive Southwest and for other purposes. Item number 11, 21-0-0421. An ordinance by Councilmember Andrea L. Boone authorizing the mayor or her designee to waive Section 138-84 of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances and to install traffic calming devices on Berry Avenue Southwest and for other purposes. Item number 15, 21-0-0433. An ordinance by Councilmember Jennifer N. Ides authorizing the mayor or her designee to install traffic calming devices on Ponce de Leon Terrace Northeast between Ponce de Leon Place Northeast and Barnett Street Northeast to waive certain provisions of Section 138-84D of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances and for other purposes. And item number 16, 21-0-0434, an ordinance by Councilmember Jennifer N. Ide authorizing the mayor or her designee to install traffic calming devices on North Virginia Avenue Northeast between Lanier Drive Northeast and Stillwood Drive Northeast to waive certain provisions of Section 138-84D of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances and for other purposes.
I move to approve all of these items.
I move to second them.
Okay, seconded by Westmoreland. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open. Vote is closed. 4 yeas, 0 nays. All these items are favorable. Items 8, 9, 10, 12, 14, and 17 are all stop sign legislation papers. Would the committee like to take these as a block?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Item number 8, 21-0-0415, an ordinance by Councilmember Cleta Winslow authorizing the mayor or her designee to make the intersection of Beecher Street Southwest and Evans Street Southwest an always stop controlled intersection, to authorize the Atlanta Department of Transportation to install stop signs at the intersection and for other purposes. Item number 9, 21-0-0416, an ordinance by Councilmember Dustin Hillis authorizing the mayor or her designee to make the intersections of DeForest Ferry Road Northwest and Warren Road Northwest and DeForest Ferry Road Northwest and Hills Avenue Northwest always stop controlled intersections, to authorize the Atlanta Department of Transportation to install stop signs at the intersections and for other purposes. Item number 10, 21-0-0420, an ordinance by Councilmember Andrea L. Boone authorizing the mayor or her designee to make the intersection of Peyton Road Southwest and Harlan Road Southwest an always stop controlled intersection, to authorize the Atlanta Department of Transportation to install stop signs at the intersection and for other purposes. Item number 12, 21-0-0422, an ordinance by Councilmember Andrea L. Boone authorizing the mayor or her designee to make the intersections of Emerald Avenue Southwest and Glendalough Place Southwest and Emerald Avenue Southwest and McAllister Street Southwest always stop controlled intersections, to authorize the Atlanta Department of Transportation to install stop signs at the intersections and for other purposes. Item number 14, 21-0-0432, an ordinance by Councilmember Jennifer N. Ide authorizing the mayor or her designee to make the intersections of Los Angeles Avenue Northeast and Rainier Boulevard Northeast an always stop controlled intersection, to authorize the Atlanta Department of Transportation to install stop signs at the intersection and for other purposes. And item number 17, 21-0-0435, an ordinance by Councilmember Madeline M. Archibald authorizing the mayor or her designee to make the intersection of Whitebird Avenue Southeast and Wiley Street Southeast an always stop controlled intersection, to authorize the Atlanta Department of Transportation to install stop signs at the intersection and for other purposes.
Okay, again, these traffic calming measures are vital. So I move approval, please.
Second.
And seconded by Westmoreland. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open. And the vote is closed. 4 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable.
Okay. This brings us to item 13. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. Item number 13, 21-0-0430, An ordinance by Councilmember Marcy Collier Overstreet to amend the 2015 Municipal Facilities Bond Fund by transferring $300,000.00 from the District 11 Renew Atlanta Bond for the purpose of making ADA improvements at the Cascade Springs Nature Preserve and for the purposes, and there's an amendment in your packet that corrects the funding stream.
Okay, so move to bring forth the amendment, please.
Second.
Okay, seconded by Westmoreland. The vote is open.
The vote is open. Vote is closed. 4 yeas, 0 nays. This item has been amended.
Okay, thank you, colleagues. We need lots of adjustments to our ADA at Cascade Springs Nature Preserve, and it's become a rather popular spot. So there's some other work that's going to happen on Cascade. The complete streets coming through, and I just want to make sure that all of it is seamless from Cascade Road to entering and parking at Cascade Springs Nature Preserve. So that's what that legislation was for. So thank you for your support. And now are we at the end of the legislative items? Looks like it.
No, Madam Vice Chair, we need to make a motion to approve this paper as amended.
Oh, okay, good. Sorry. Yes, please, motion to approve the this ordinance, please.
Second.
Second by Westmoreland.
Vote is open. Vote is closed. 4 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable as amended. We have a few more resolutions to take up. Items 18 and 19. The department has requested that they be held. Would the committee like to take these as a block?
Yes, please.
Item number 18, 21-R-3615, a resolution by Councilmember Cleta Winslow authorizing the mayor, her designee, to enter into an agreement between the City of Atlanta and the Askew Heights Community Association, allowing the erection of a neighborhood identification sign within a certain right-of-way and for the purposes. And item number 19, 21-R-3616, a resolution by Councilmember Cleta Winslow authorizing the mayor, her designee, to enter into an agreement between the City of Atlanta and the Mosley Park Neighborhood Association, allowing the erection of a neighborhood identification sign within a certain right-of-way and for the purposes.
I move approval. Move approval to hold.
Second.
Second by Westmoreland.
The vote is open. Vote is closed. 4 yeas, 0 nays. These items will be held.
Okay. The next item.
Item number 20. Yes, it's item number 20, 21-R-3620, a resolution by Councilmember Madeline M. Archibald authorizing the mayor, her designee, on behalf of the City of Atlanta to enter into an encroachment agreement with the Fulton County DeKalb Hospital Authority, doing business as Grady Memorial Hospital, for the purpose of the installation of steam and condensate pipes under the right-of-way at Coca-Cola Place between Jesse Hill and Pratt Street, more specifically at 50 Coca-Cola Place Southeast, Atlanta, Georgia, 30303, and for the purposes, and there's an amendment in your packet to attach the missing exhibits and ATL DOT encroachment with checklist.
Okay, so let's bring forth the amendment and then we'll speak to ATL DOT about it. I motion to bring forth the amendment.
Second.
Second by Westmoreland.
The vote is open. Vote is closed. 4 yeas, 0 nays. This item has been amended.
Okay, is Commissioner Rowan still here, or is Ms. Alexander speaking on it?
I believe Ms. Alexander will speak to this item.
Okay. So Tina Alexander, Atlanta Department of Transportation. The purpose of this legislation is to grant Grady Hospital an encroachment agreement to install a steam and condensation pipe under the City of Atlanta's right-of-way. The steam is needed for several medical purposes within the hospital. The steam pipe will convey steam from the boiler room into the hospital. The department has reviewed all submitted documents, and we are okay with moving the legislation forward. Okay, does anyone have any questions about it? Okay, hearing none, I move approval.
Second.
Second, Westmoreland. Let's prepare to vote.
Vote is open. The vote is closed. 4 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable as amended.
Alrighty. Let's move to the next item.
Item number 21-R-3621, a resolution by Councilmember Amira Faroki authorizing the mayor or her designee to apply for a fiscal year 2021 U.S. Department of Transportation Rebuilding American Infrastructure with Sustainability and Equity discretionary grant in an amount not to exceed $1 million and 0 cents for planning for the ditch and further purposes.
Councilmember Faroki, did you want to speak to this?
I do, Madam Vice Chair, if that's okay. This paper, as it notes, authorizes the mayor to apply for a federal USDOT grant in the amount of $1 million for planning as its early stages for the stitch, if the mayor so chooses. For those who may not know, the stitch is a proposed capping and bridging of part of the connector, largely where Peachtree Street crosses over 7585. As most of you are aware, in the 1950s and completed in the 1960s, in Atlanta and in many other cities around the country, interstate highways were taken through the center city, really splitting them in half, and in most cases, intentionally taken through black neighborhoods. And in this case, where the stitch is kind of the beginning of where it kind of gutted the Sweet Auburn community, which was is still a kind of a cultural touch point of our city, but at the time was a really vibrant economic hub for Black Atlanta. The application or the approval, authorization of the mayor to submit an application is in line with the fact that the city can submit up to 3 applications to the DOT, the federal DOT, for these funds. These funds, again, are planning funds. They are not construction funds. We approved a similar ask for the Beltline Southside Trail for $22 million of construction funds. This will be a competitive process, not just for city projects. There'll be many projects submitted from across the state, from our state DOT, from other jurisdictions in the state. And so this is just kind of one other one that we think is worth putting forward as that project starts to do its early scoping, so that hopefully down the road there's full-fledged support for it, both federally, state, and locally. So I will move to approve.
Okay, and I will second. I absolutely believe that we should capture as many grant dollars as possible to help with all the work that we need to do here in Atlanta. So I will second. So moved by Faroki, seconded by Overstreet. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open. Vote is closed. 4 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable.
Okay, sounds good. Next item.
Item number 22-21-R-3656, a resolution by Transportation Committee authorizing the mayor or her designee to enter into agreement RFP-S-1210021 indoor-outdoor distributed antenna system upgrade and expansion with Cleveland Electric Uptime Symphony JV on behalf of the Department of Aviation to install the indoor upgrade and outdoor expansion of the distributed antenna system at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport for a term of 4 years with 1 year renewal term option in an amount not to exceed $131,339,445.00. All contracted work will be charged to and paid from the account numbers listed herein and for other purposes. And there's an amendment in your that was emailed out this morning that attaches the Independent Procurement Review Office report.
Yes, I read that. So let's vote to bring forth the amendment. I move to bring forth the amendment. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Westmoreland.
The vote is open.
Oh, thank you.
Vote is closed. 4 yeas, 0 nays. This item has been amended.
Okay. So now let's hear from Aviation about it.
BB Adari, General Manager, Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. Members, this is a major and critical technology upgrade to our distributed antenna system. It's an aging system that has reached its end of life. And at the conclusion of this upgrade, it will provide enhanced coverage for both cellular and radios, both indoor and outdoor, to include the newest of technology, 5G. This project will be paid for by four elements. The Department of Aviation will absorb about $20 million of this enhancement, and the three major wireless provider, AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon, will absorb the rest of the cost for this project. I strongly recommend approval for this project.
Okay, thank you for that explanation. So I move approval. Does anyone have any questions?
Second.
Okay, second by Westmoreland. Hearing no questions, seeing no hands. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open. Vote is closed. 4 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable as amended. Now we have the walk-in item, if the committee would like to take that up now.
Yes, we would.
It is a resolution by Transportation Committee authorizing the mayor or her designee to execute a lighting equipment study agreement between the City of Atlanta and Georgia Power Company for the number, location, and quality of its current outdoor lighting poles, lights, and related assets on behalf of the Atlanta Department of Transportation, and to authorize the Chief Financial Officer to remit payment to Georgia Power Company in an amount not to exceed $750,000.00 and for other purposes.
Oh my goodness, I can't state enough. Move approval.
Second.
Second by Westmoreland. Please prepare the vote.
Vote is open. Vote is closed. 4 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable.
Wonderful. So that's it on the resolution items. Are we now to go back to the presentation?
Yes, Madam Vice Chair.
Okay, so let's do that. We're ready for our aviation presentation, and I believe that will be done by GM Belladori.
Once again, B.B. Adari, General Manager, Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. And this is, can we get to the presentation, please?
The presentation is up, so you can start presenting, and just prompt us for the next slide when you're ready.
Okay, it's coming up at our end right now, so it's still not showing up on our end, but as they're pulling it up, and hopefully it will pop up here in a second. This is the Department of Aviation Fiscal Year 21 third quarter presentation or update. I just want to start it out by saying that fiscal year 21 third quarter represents an improvement of the worst pandemic impacts that this airport and the industry have faced. In the third quarter of this year, our atrium was very quiet and empty most days compared to what some of you saw last Friday. And January 2021 traffic was down nearly 60% from January of 2020. By the time we eliminated the canopies to mark President Day in February, vaccines were becoming more available. And by March, I will tell you, it was heartening for us, the men and women here at the airport, to watch the many aircraft taxiing on our airfield. April, of course, is not part of fiscal year 21 third quarter, but I want to mention I want to mention something to this body. In March, passenger numbers were the same this year over the previous year, but in April of this year, our passenger numbers were 984% higher than in April of 2020. And of course, as always, Atlanta top priority is to provide a safe, efficient travel experience for the millions of passengers that go through our airport. So as I present the rest of the data for fiscal year 21 third quarter, I would be remiss if I don't say thanks to the great men and women of this enterprise that work day in and out 24/7 to ensure that we maintain our safety and efficiency protocol that enables us to move tens of millions of passengers through this airport on a quarterly basis. This morning briefing, next slide please. This morning briefing will focus on a number of Atlanta efforts during the questioning period. We will address our operational impacts, including passengers and operations number, our financial stewardship, and our capital improvement plan. Next slide, please. When we started calendar year 2020, it looked like Atlanta was going to exceed calendar year 2019 figures. In January through March of 2020, Atlanta hosted 20.7 million passengers. In January and February of 2020, those numbers were 2.5% higher than January and February of 2019. We were excited. We were on track for another record-breaking year in 2020. And then, as we all know, in March of 2020, the pandemic hit, and the continued impact on the industry was felt by everyone. In fiscal year 2021, third quarter, January through March of this year, as you can see on this slide, Atlanta served 11.1 million passengers, which was 9.5 million passengers fewer, or 46% less than the same period the previous year. Next slide. Here's a snapshot of the past three-quarter traffic number for fiscal year 2021. And this slide here is telling a positive story. It is showing a gradual return of operations, a gradual return of passengers to the industry as a vaccine is taking hold and people are getting more comfortable, and there's an assurance of safety through their journey from both the airport and airline perspective for them to start their travel again. The quarter three numbers, which cover spring break and spring holiday, are made up mostly of leisure travelers. The two lagging indicators for us are business travelers and international travelers. We are working with our business community and with the industry to convince corporation for the need to return to the air to conduct business with clientele. Also, we are working with the international community to set some standardized procedure to encourage the start of international travelers. Next slide. Here's a more specific breakdown of the third quarter fiscal year 21 by month, and we have seen between January through March a gradual growth in passenger. Of course, as usual, February is normally our lowest month of the quarter, historically, because we are coming out of from the holiday period and jumping right into spring. So normally we will see a lull in travel during the month of February. Next slide, please. This slide here really talks about the originating passenger. That is, those passengers who originate in Atlanta or depart from Atlanta, displaying the same dynamics January through March 2020. It looked positive before the pandemic. Pandemic hits, and then January through March of this fiscal year, it represented nearly 46% drop in our originating passenger over the same period of the previous year. Next slide. This is a good slide for us. In the third quarter of this year, January through March, it showed a significant increase in flight operations. We are at the point where flight operations were nearly 60% of this during the same period of fiscal year 20. This shows a positive flight activity growth coming out of an indication that we may be coming out of the pandemic faster than anticipated. Next slide. While still strong, cargo operations are dealing with the same staffing shortages that other sectors are dealing with, and we spoke extensively about staffing shortages in all different sectors of the enterprise. Many of the additional flights and charter are bringing in medical supplies and PPE to the U.S. Globally, air cargo remains a critical pillar in the fight against COVID-19. In Atlanta, belly cargo has been adversely affected by the loss of passengers traffic. Freight service has compensated for the loss of belly capacity. Over 60% of air cargo is coming via full freighter services and supported by a thriving e-commerce presence. Next slide. With the increase in freight cargo, it is translating to higher use of our truck staging area. Almost 2 times the number of trucks per month was processed through our truck pass via last year. And this chart really demonstrates quarter over quarter the spike in this fiscal year from nearly 6,000 truck operations here to over 11,000 truck operations. Next slide. Economic generation through our concession and rental car partner is vitally important to Atlanta. In years past, our more than 300 concessionaires and rental car partners will gross nearly $1 billion annually. As passenger return, we expect to see concession revenue return in just as vibrant a manner as we did in fiscal year portion of fiscal year 20 and fiscal year 19. Concessions reflected the same dynamic we saw in our passengers number. In 2020, again, we were looking at good right up until mid-March. As you can see, we grossed more than $206 million in fiscal year 20, third quarter of last year, fiscal year 20. This year, that number fell to $130.9 million, a drop of roughly 36% during the same period, January, February, and March of 2021. Specifically, concession were down nearly 69%, or $68 million, sorry. Rental car revenue was down $6.7 million. Next slide. In March of last year, City Council approved a plan to waive minimum rent requirements for concessions, and those numbers are reflected on this slide. In 2020, the aviation concession and rental car combined rent, the amount actually paid to the airport was $21.8 million. In 2021, that figure, third quarter of 2021, that figure dropped to $11.1 million, a reduction of nearly 49%. In just a moment, Mr. Greg Richardson, the Department of Aviation CFO, will provide additional information regarding our budget and revenue generation and the utilization of federal grants to offset the drop in revenue. Parking was no different. Another substantial revenue hit, understandably, took place in our parking program. Fiscal year 21, third quarter, we saw revenue surpass $29 million during the same period this year, January through March. Parking revenue took a significant hit, and the number at the end of March of fiscal year 21, revenue for parking was only $16.4 million, a drop of nearly 45%. Next slide, please. As we discussed our finance and budget, I would like to introduce Deputy General Manager and Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Greg Richardson. Greg.
Good morning, everybody. As Dee said, Greg Richardson, Deputy General Manager, CFO, making my cameo appearance here on this quarterly presentation. I think we might need to advance the slide one more to get to the next page. As it relates to revenues, so through quarter 3 of fiscal year 21, compared to budget, we're basically flat. There's a lot of activity that goes on in the details of that, but fundamentally we're down only $600,000 versus the budget. As Dee said, parking and concessions were some main drivers of decreases as to what our budget was originally, and that's mainly due to some adjustments that were made after the budget was finalized. Some of those things we talked about during our budget presentation just a little while ago. The offset to that is we did have some better than expected performance in car rental revenue, as well as the rental car facility revenues. So those helped offset some of those decreases. Compared to last year, and this is not a surprise to anybody, and it's been expected, that we had a material decrease of about $137 million. And it was just across the board for everything, from the airline fees to concessions and to parking, really being the main drivers, and really each of those being drivers related to passenger activity. When you look at our expenses, operating expenses so far through the third quarter were lower than budget by about $38 million. Again, not unanticipated. As we built the budget, we knew that we were building it for higher levels of operations just in case passengers return faster, but we've been able to control those costs throughout the year. Expense management and parking and security were main drivers in that, along with reductions in certain contract services and on-call budgets that went into effect to reduce those expenses. Versus last year, we're down right now about $4.5 million. Again, able to control or reduce the expenses and contract services and supplies were main drivers in that area. Personnel has shown an increase to offset some of those decreases, and a lot of that has to do with the hazard pay and overtime needs resulting from the hazard comp time. These numbers don't reflect anything as far as draws made on CARES. B mentioned it before. I'll just say real quickly, we've drawn a little less than $200 million so far on our CARES. We still have effectively remaining close to $600 million in federal monies that we'll be utilizing in fiscal year 22 through fiscal year 24. And with that, I will turn it back over to B.
Thanks, Greg. Next slide, please. We have all been aware of the success of TNC since the approved introduction of TNC to the airport in 2017. They have shown a rapid growth in TNC operations from 2017 through March of 2020, when, like everything else, TNC and taxi took a rapid dip. Since March of last year, there are some bumps back in both TNC and taxi operations, and we have seen a steady growth in both of those arenas. Next slide, please. Here is a more in-depth look at the third quarter fiscal year 20 when compared to fiscal year 21. TNC and taxi numbers are shown in the slide here. Taxis on the left in blue, we saw 96,000 operations in 2020, and in 2021, 26,900 operations, a decline of 72%. The same for TNC, 617,000 in 2020, and we're only at 254,000 in 2021, a decline of nearly 59%. Next slide, please. One of the most important elements we have here at the airport going on right now is working with our stakeholders to onboard staffing. Staffing has been a challenge, and the turnaround to get staff on the payroll is very essential for not only the Department of Aviation, but also our business partner to continue to serve both the rapid growth in our operations, in flight operations, airline operations, cargo activities, and other service areas of the airport, such as custodial. Our credentialing staff has been working overtime. They're in high gear, weekends, after hours, lunch hours, to meet the expanded demand to get new employee credential. The service level agreement that our staff have put in place, they have far exceeded that. Their performance rating is 97+% in meeting the service standard level to get people credentialed and through the process and get them on board into each of those business area, functional areas. Next slide, please. In January of 2021, we added over 335 cameras in our ATL West parking deck. That parking deck is now open for full revenue service, and there are days when we are at capacity. Currently, there are over 3,000 CCTV cameras throughout the entire airport. It helps us in several areas of our operations. Our security team also monitor all of those closed circuit cameras throughout the airport. Next slide, please. Another piece of technology that we have completed in the third quarter is our domestic terminal south breach control system. prior to having this system in place, we had a terminal bypass, a revolving door that allowed people in and out of this sterile area. We have implemented some new technology in there. Today, the technology that we have implemented have proven itself to be highly effective in both preventing or mitigating potential security breaches, but also increase the efficiency of passenger flow. Next slide, please. In March, we moved our employee screening checkpoint from the mezzanine level to make way for the plane train tunnel expansion. We have spoken extensively about the plane train expansion. Employee screening is taking place at the North Security Checkpoint, and we have a permanent location. Some of you may be aware of the former American Airline baggage claim area to build a permanent employee screening checkpoint. Next slide. This is a snapshot of our employee hiring process and training of the 20 employees that we onboard at the last quarter. 13 of those were promotions or transfer from one department to another, from one business unit to another, and 7 were new hires. It's a good story. We have continued our recruitment process, but we have also not lost sight of our training requirements. Some of it are mandatory training requirements, others are skill set improvement training requirement or skill development training requirements. Next slide. As you're aware, we have been moving very fast with our capital program. In calendar year 2020, the Department of Aviation completed over $400 million of planning, design, and construction invoices that were paid out the door. For fiscal year 21 third quarter, there was a number of substantial accomplishments in this arena. Our Northeast Pedestrian Bridge was opened in March of 2021, and we are forcing more and more passenger up to the bridge. It provides for a higher level of service. And when I said forcing passenger, that is through signage and other wayfinding means, so they're self-selecting to use those bridges instead of having to cross multi-lane across our roadway system. At the Southeast Pedestrian Bridge, and a new vertical circulation core remain under construction during this quarter. The last of the 4 bridges built and opened yesterday exactly on schedule. This is a really, next slide please. This is a really good story and a really, really good project of ours, the T-North 5-gate extension project. It is continuing on schedule and on budget. Once completed, the new structure will add 5 gates to Concourse T on the north end. The progress has been safe and steady throughout. This 5 gates will be is scheduled to be open in December of 2022. Next slide, please. We just want to show a few seconds time-lapse video of the steel structure going up to support the 5-gate construction project. So this is a time lapse, and you could see the steel on the north side being erected. A few weeks ago, the construction team hosted a celebration to mark the final piece of steel, as we know it's called a topping off ceremony, to be placed on the new structure. So this project is on schedule, and as I mentioned earlier, it is scheduled to open or complete in December of 2022, and those 5 gates put into revenue service at that time. Next slide, please. Another very complex project that is underway is our Plane Train Tunnel West Extension. We are making excellent progress on this tunnel extension. So far, of the 600 linear feet of extension, this tunnel that is being built, we have completed nearly 500 feet of that tunnel. The progress of this tunnel is the blasting effort that has to take place. Nightly, there are blasting going on in the tunnel because of the formation of Stone Mountain rock that is that is 50 feet underground. It takes the crew approximately 5 feet of work in a 24-hour period to move this tunnel along. So it's good progress. The tunnel is roughly 50 feet underground. In May, Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg was here, and in the process, he received an underground tour of that construction site. It was very impressive. So as I mentioned, this is a very, very complex project. Our primary focus is not speed, but safety. And to date, we have had an impeccable safety record. Next slide, please. And with that, this brings me to the conclusion of Aviation quarterly presentation for third quarter fiscal year 2021. And I'm open to any questions that any of the council member may have.
Thank you for that, Mr. Biodori. I don't see any hands, but I'm sure everyone was happy to see every slide, just as I was. I love the word impeccable because, you can be great and you can be busy and you can be efficient, but if you're impeccable while doing all of that, well, that just puts us in a whole nother level. And I appreciate all of the work that you all are doing. One more time, does anyone have any questions or comments about our quarterly aviation presentation? Okay, I don't see any. Again, all lines of communications are open. You contact us if you need anything or want to get our thoughts on anything. Mr. Biodori, thank you for the presentation. Congratulations again. I'm sure that this will, your appointment will go through full council, no problem, because I think we're all very excited about it. And I would, I think that we have Councilmember Ide on. Councilmember Ide, would you like to speak today?
No, I was just letting you know I had a doctor's appointment and I got here late, but I was glad to get here for the end of that presentation.
Okay, wonderful. So I know we did have quite a skeletal transportation committee today, so thank you for joining us. It's a busy time for everyone. So I hope everyone has a very safe and happy 4th of July. Anyone need to clear their hearts about anything else other than aviation and transportation? Any announcements? Okay, seeing none. Let's just adjourn now. If I can get a second to our adjournment, that'll be great. Because we have no... Okay. Thank you, Mr. Faroki. We have no papers to be pulled up from held, and we're just all done with our legislative items for today. So everyone enjoy. Thank you very much.
Thank you.